award-winning Tennessee Wildcast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Tennessee Wildcast. We're glad you're tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're back at the Tennessee
National Wildlife Refuge.
There you go, Don. So, yes, back here again with Miss Joan Howe. She's the Refuge Ranger. I love that title, Refuge Ranger.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun show. We're going to learn all about this place today.
Yes. Yep.
There's a lot going on behind us here. There's also a lot going on behind Todd in the studio side there, or the control room side of this visitor center. It's
so much to see and do up here.
Yeah.
You really need to plan a trip.
Plan a trip.
Really
and we're going to maybe outline that today.
Yeah.
Cool.
Get people out here.
Sounds great.
Before we jump in, Don?
Helping us spread the word is WNWS in Jackson. We're on Saturdays at 6 a.m. there. So
all right.
We appreciate them as well as all of our other radio partners, and they help us get the word out, as well as the social side and everywhere else you might be able to hear us.
Yes, you can catch this show on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeart, Google.
Unlimited.
Wow. We're out there. So, I don't know, maybe if you said, Alexa, play Wildcast, it might work. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to try that.
So, anyway, yeah. Appreciate our partners out there on the radio, and we're thankful for our social media platforms and ways to get the information out.
Exactly.
And that's what we're going to do today, share some information about the Tennessee National Wildlife Refuge and what all is here to learn about and what all there is to offer here. So, Joan, do you want to introduce yourself again to the folks that may have not heard the first show?
I'm Joan Howe. I'm the Refuge Ranger here at Tennessee National Wildlife Refuge. I work for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Not the TWRA.
Not the TWRA. Okay. So we're the federal wildlife side of things. And one of the biggest things Fish and Wildlife Service does is we have national wildlife refuges. And they're in every state. They're all over the country. It is actually a system of lands that works together with each other for the conservation of habitats for our nation's wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
So we have one of those refuges. There's actually 7 national wildlife refuges in the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
So and they're all different national wildlife refuges have habitat for different things. So maybe it's for an endangered species like Florida panther or Mississippi sandhill crane.
Not in Tennessee.
Not in Tennessee. Maybe it's for walruses or whatever. So,
not in Tennessee. No.
In Tennessee, all 7 of these national wildlife refuges are migratory bird conservation oriented. So
Perfect.
we are conserving and protecting the habitats for migratory birds. And so, and as you know, migratory birds move up and down in these pathways we call flyways.
Right.
So we are in the Mississippi River flyway. We're perched along, this refuge is perched along 65 miles of the Tennessee River. Tennessee River flows eventually into the Mississippi. So all 7 of those national wildlife refuges are kind of in the western part of Tennessee because of that Mississippi flyway location. So, but we work all together. All these national wildlife refuges provide these habitats all up and down the Mississippi flyway for these birds as they migrate, because it's pretty important habitats. We focus a lot of our management here on wintering waterfowl in the wintertime. And so those waterfowl, they need a place to stop over, rest, refuel. They also do pair bonding in the wintertime. So when to be a reproductive success, you have to have the little ducky parlors, for them to be able to have pair bondings before they return back up north, where they usually breed up north. We do have 2 species of waterfowl that will actually nest around here, the wood duck and the hooded merganser. So sometimes you see that, but most of the other waterfowl have already moved on back up north, looking for the great breeding spots in the prairie pothole regions up there. But we do have a lot of habitats, even though it's kind of focused a little bit on waterfowl. We have a diversity of habitats for a wide diversity of species. For instance, we have seen and found 316 different species of birds here on this refuge.
Wow.
That's in the state, if I'm not if I think I'm correct, it's 411 species of birds in the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
So 316 of them are right here on this
stopped in.
refuge. Yeah. So we have 89 different species of amphibians and reptiles, 54 different species of mammals. But the cool thing also is about the fish. So 50% of this refuge is water, right on the Tennessee River, and then we have these huge impoundments that we manage for the waterfowl. But part of the refuge is where the Duck River feeds into the Tennessee River.
Okay, wow.
And I don't know if folks know about the Duck River.
The most diverse?
But, yeah, the most diverse, one of the most diverse rivers in the world. Yeah. And the one river in the state of Tennessee where the full watershed is within the state of Tennessee. And right where that feeds into the Tennessee River is right on the Tennessee National Wildlife Refuge.
Oh, yes.
And once upon a time, Dave Etnier, he was a pretty famous ichthyologist from Tennessee.
A what?
Dave Etnier.
No, what was he called?
Ichthyologist.
Okay.
So the study of fish. He took his group down here and he did an ichthyological survey. That's a study of looking how many fish we have. And he counted 144 different species of fish.
Oh, man.
So I put that into perspective for people. That is more fish species than all the Great Lakes combined. More fish species than all the rivers of Europe combined.
Wow.
Right here on this refuge. So we are wildlife-rich, diverse refuge. So we're not only important for waterfowl and migratory birds, but many other different species.
Man, that's great.
Here.
Tennessee is a special place.
It is a special place, and it's a lot of people don't realize, when they look for species diversity, they may go to think of Smokies or whatever, but we have a rich species diversity here in this part of the state of Tennessee, so yeah.
Yeah, from east to west. We always say this, but from east to west, Tennessee's got it all.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome.
And this education center where we're doing the show from today is very special. I mean, and it's active. I mean, you can hear in the background. You might be able to hear a little bit of sound where, folks are walking through.
Because we're standing right here in the visitor center. There's folks that are visiting,
taking it
here.
all in. And tell us a little bit, Joan, about what all is available here for school field trips.
I will tell you that this refuge has been here for just over 75 years. We just passed our 75th anniversary here. About the time that TVA created Kentucky Lake was the same time that they gave over key portions over to the Fish and Wildlife Service to be managed as a National Wildlife Refuge forevermore. So in all those 75 years, we always wanted a visitor center, so we were really hoping to be able to do that for a long time, and I guess all the stars and planets lined up in 2014, and we got the funds to be able to create this wonderful state-of-the-art visitor center right here in West Tennessee.
Yeah.
So in this visitor center, it is got a large exhibit hall. It has an auditorium. It has a classroom.
Yeah.
And it is adjacent to this beautiful bay of Kentucky Lake. It's just perched right on the edge. So there's a back patio. You walk out. There is your nesting osprey right in front of you. The purple martins, the bluebirds are nesting. The phoebes are nesting. The tree swallows are swirling around. I mean, it's just all right here when you come to visit. So you come and visit the building, but you certainly want to visit the refuge and see the real reason why we're here.
There's a beautiful, rich backdrop right out there.
Exactly. So what we are looking at in this kind of little exhibit right here kind of gives you a feel of what it
almost
is
looks just like
on the refuge. So this was why we chose kind of this backdrop here, because it looks a little bit like the refuge. But coming here to this visitor center, it is free to come. There is no charge to coming here. It is also designed to be very family friendly. I mean, adults love it, but kids love it too.
Yeah.
And the most common comment we have after people have come here for the first time is, "Man, I got to come back and bring my kids or my grandkids or whatever."
The same thing.
Yeah. So I heard you were already planning a trip to bring your kids back here.
Have to.
There is kind of an importance to tactile learning and learning by doing. So everything in here pretty much is you touch this, or it starts when you walk in, or you pull a drawer out, so it's very interactive learning here. We have scavenger hunts. We have all kinds of things, and it's a lot of fun for the kids. Even the floor is interesting. The floor is like a diorama of a river, and there are even dioramas in the floor. door.
Right under it.
So it is a fun place. You can take a plane ride. You can go all night long in 7 minutes. You can, you can play games to learn sounds of animals. So we tried to make this as fun as possible and to have so much packed in here that you couldn't do it all in one trip. So if you come back, I guarantee you're going to see something you didn't or do something that you hadn't done before. So it's a good place to come multiple times. Right outside, like I said, the back patio is a beautiful backdrop of Kentucky Lake, but we have a nice demonstration pollinator garden that folks can look and see some of our native plants out there. And there are a couple of hiking trails just really close to here that have, like one of the hiking trails has a thing on it called Animal Olympics. And so there's all these little exercise stations, but they learn about wildlife and then they exercise like them.
Okay.
Like they hang like a bat, or they hop like a frog, or they walk a balance beam like a squirrel, or jump like a deer, or whatever, So they.
We'll hit that up in a minute, Don.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a lot of stuff that's really available and a lot of fun for folks to come here and visit.
And just so listeners know, logistically where we are, we're fairly close to Paris.
So we're fairly close to Paris. It's technically located in Springville, Tennessee.
Okay.
But we're about 15 minutes outside of Paris, Tennessee. Really not too far from Paris Landing State Park.
Right.
So which is just adjacent to the refuge. So if any folks know where that location is, then we're just right down the road from that. So we just invite anybody that wants to come here to come. But I will also mention that this is a great place to come for field trips. And we have probably about a 9 or 10, we've had them as far as Nashville come before, but we have pretty much a 9 or 10 county area around here.
Sure.
Clarksville has found us, Jackson's found us, Paducah, things like that. So they come here for a field trip. It is free to come here and bring your field trip. And we have a friends group that even has a bus grant, so they will help out with your bus transportation to come here. So you can't make it any better than that.
Well, you'd be surprised how easy it is. It's a couple hours from Nashville.
Yeah.
That's not so bad.
It's really not. We have, there was a daycare or something that brought up kids, and we just had this. So, it's an all-day field trip. They come up here about 9, and they leave about 1:30 or so, and they lunch here. They bring their own lunch and eat lunch here. But we are having them out in the forest. We're taking them down to the shoreline. We are collecting insects. We are looking through scopes. We are, having a whole wide range. It just depends on the season.
Yeah.
If it's warmer, we might be in the water, or if it's wintertime, we might be looking at all those waterfowl that are out there, So we pride ourselves in having a really quality, very hands-on learning experience here when they come for a field trip. And it doesn't have to be public schools. I've had homeschoolers come here. I've had 4-H'ers come here. I've got Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, all that. You're working on a conservation badge. What a great place to come to.
Right.
So
help clean up the trails, and
all they have to just do is contact us, and we will set that up for them. But we also have, we've had church groups come here. We've had, folks that just come that have their club or whatever come here, and we will set up a nice day for them and welcome them and give them a nice program.
Well, it's fun and educational. It's a fun experience, but you also learn a lot when you're here.
So we have different events at this refuge. Unfortunately, the pandemic sort of got in the way of that, and we are still getting a little bit rolling. But for instance, the second Saturday in August is hummingbird banding. So we have Cindy Routledge from Southeastern Avian Research. She comes and she bands hummingbirds.
Oh, neat.
And you can be as close as I am to you, to a little hummingbird,
Wow.
And she does a great program in our auditorium, and we have crafts, we have games, we have food, it's just a great day. So we have events that we always have. We have a Facebook page, and so folks can see us on our Facebook page as well as our website.
Awesome.
So we would put all those events on there, but that would just be an example of one of them.
We'll make sure to let people know about that, and we'll put the information in the comments so they can click on that and see that. That's awesome.
And speaking of conservation and partnering with folks, I know our agency, TWRA, WRA has partnered a lot with you guys up here. I mean, you got the perfect spot to be able to do some training and some. Tell us a little bit about what.
So
what's
we
been
do.
going on.
Well, number one, National Wildlife Refuges are a great place for wildlife research. So a lot
Definitely.
of the TWRA comes and does some of their, surveying. Universities also come here. For instance, goose banding. They hold their annual goose banding. One of them right here on this refuge here. There is the Mallard Project.
Yeah.
The one that's kind
Telemetry
of everybody
project,
telemetry project. So they came and they put some, and I believe they're going to put another dozen, transmitters on ducks found right here on this refuge to add to that. So there's a lot. Little tiny backpacks, which that's all really exciting.
Really cool.
Here. So but of course this place is always offered up to our partners to do all kinds of training. I think they've had waterfowl training. They got rocket net training coming up, and different things that this place is going to be used for. But we do have a lot of conservation partners, and we are happy to put this place to good use for either wildlife research or to host some kind of a.
I hadn't thought about it much, but you mentioned 2014 grand opening here when the center
and
opened.
you were here.
I was here,
I remember that. You brought your big trailer.
And my wife came with me, and she was so worried about that big trailer we were pulling the whole time. But anyway, she had a blast. She said, I can't believe this place. This is so cool. Yeah. But anyway, prior to having the visitor center, what was life like here on the refuge?
Well, we spent a lot of time focusing on wildlife habitat management. This is not a preserve. This is a highly managed place. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do to get the habitat ready, especially for the wintering waterfowl. I call it setting the banquet, We got to have all that kind of ready. So we focused a lot on that. But, when I wanted to have a group out here, I didn't even have a porta potty, I had to do it quick before somebody had to go to the bathroom. So having this here now, it just sort of completes that package. Folks can really come here, learn about all the great things. This is a great place to come paddle, to come canoeing or kayaking. And so, come here and maybe learn about our water trails that we have around here. And 50% is in all these other refuges, a lot of water.
Yeah.
So where can I come and paddle in this area? So this is a great jumping off spot for that.
So you offer that access. Can folks come and fish off the banks here?
Yes, I would say probably half at least of our visitors are fishermen.
Okay.
Because, we have 23 boat ramps, on the refuge. We have, all kinds of shoreline fishing. I had 3 people come in today. Where can I go fishing? I set them up, So with all those diversity of fish, we got lots of great places to come fishing on here. And even though this is a refuge, there is hunting.
Hey,
not waterfowl hunting, but we do hunt things like deer, turkey, raccoon, squirrel on the refuge. So it is a tool to manage, as recreational too. But we do have a lot of hunting and fishing. But I'm telling you, the wildlife photographers, the wildlife observers, that kind of stuff is really taken off, and they love to come here. Our Duck River Bottoms area, which I consider kind of the heart of the refuge, is one of these places. Well, I don't care when you're there. I mean, the wildlife is happening.
Oh, yeah.
And you can just have great pictures. But I do want to mention a really new thing that's happened here recently. So and of course it got interrupted by the pandemic, but we've had about 3 years of this thing called Wings of Winter Birding Festival. So it is a wintertime birding festival. Usually they're in the spring or the summer or whatever. Well, this was in the wintertime when we are really happening.
Right.
And in this area, not only is there 2 national wildlife refuges, Tennessee and Cross Creeks National Wildlife Refuge, we have a state park, we have a national park, and we have a national forest and WMA lands really close together. And they all have fantastic bird resources. So we kind of hold our hands together there, and we put on a fantastic birding festival opportunity. It's always Martin Luther King weekend.
Okay.
And we have different buses going out to all these fabulous with expert guides that take folks. We have folks come that are brand new to birding. We have folks that are intermediate expert birders. They have one that's like they go from like early in the morning till late at night to see how many species they can get in one day. We have fun birding trips. There's one called Birds and Brew. So we have a local microbrew and we have a local winery. So they go and they go birding a little bit and they try a little local wine. They go birding a little bit and try a local beer. We'll drive you. And so,
hop on the bus.
yeah, so there's even fun, things like that. So, and then we have world-class speakers come in here. So we had Richard Crossley. There's a Richard Crossley guide. We've had Scott Weidensaw, which is one of the top researchers for owls. Julie Zickafoos. We've had these fantastic speakers come in. And so in the evening, then there's different programs that you have.
Wow.
And so Brian
awesome.
Fox Ellis has come in and he's portrayed different characters like John James Audubon, and Charles Darwin and that kind of stuff. And so we have these fantastic birding experience, but then in the nighttime you can go and listen to these speakers.
Yeah.
And Scott was the first one that really told me about that telemetry stuff, whether you put on a receptor and then the cell phone towers, pick it up.
Yeah.
And so he was doing all that stuff with snowy owls, and it was just fantastic programs. So Wings of Winter Birding Festival
Are all these free?
And actually, that one is not.
Okay.
So it is, but I'm telling you, it is the most economical birding festival that you'll probably go to.
Okay.
And it's a smorgasbord, so you can pick and choose. Okay, I want to do this field trip. I want to do that field trip. I'll take that evening. You can put together your package of what kind of weekend that you want to go do.
That's awesome.
But we have made it as cheap as possible, and we will drive you around, do everything. You just don't have to do anything but just show up and just bring your binoculars and have a great time. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
so
cool.
I just want to, that is brand new thing that we've had on the horizon.
Wow,
So
that's
Wings
neat.
of Winter Birding Festival, Martin Luther King weekend.
That's an easy one to remember because the Sandhill Crane Festival, it goes on that same weekend.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm usually committed to that. So
But we
who knows? I might have
we
to-
probably should have worked on that a
Oh,
little
that's
bit.
all
But
right.
yeah.
That's all right. Hey, there's only so many weekends
Well,
available.
there's also
you know.
Wheeler has a Sandhill Crane down in
Right.
Alabama,
Yep,
and so we were
exactly.
trying to get it where birders could go from one festival to another, but we didn't
Make
quite
a whole
line it up.
weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I did want to plug that.
Sure,
just to
yeah.
make sure, because it's brand new on the horizon and people maybe have not heard about it, but we have had people from about 20 different states come here just in those 3 years and start learning about this.
That's
and
good.
So this next winter, we will be picking that up big time
Sure.
and having a big birding year. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that the visitor center is free of charge. Come on in, check it out.
Yep.
Are there any fees or permits to access the property?
Just the only fee we have is for hunting. There's an
Okay.
annual hunting permit for our hunters. The rest of it is wide open.
Wide
You
open.
can
Foot
come.
traffic only, right?
Yes, you can come and fish or hunt. Or bird or photography or hike
Yeah.
or paddle or whatever. There's no extra fees for all of that.
That's
the
great.
only thing that I will mention is that the refuge is only open during the daytime. At nighttime, it's for the wildlife.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah, so we kind of just say once the sun's up, we're open. Once the sun goes down, we're closed. Yeah, we do also have a management style on the refuge for our waterfowl, and there are some bays that we call sanctuary. November 15th to March 15th is sanctuary.
Okay.
So you can't paddle in there, you can't fish in there. Different time. That's just for the waterfowl. That's not the whole refuge, but just key portions of the refuge
sure.
that are sensitive to
Some of
to
their
that disturbance.
popular areas
Yeah,
that-
exactly, to try to minimize the disturbance. For that.
Well, do you want to tease a little bit about the facility here? Maybe it might entice some more people to come. I think the challenge tree is kind of cool.
Yeah.
The challenge corner or challenge tree.
Challenge tree. So we have, well, like I say, we tried to make, the kind of the museum you have to go to and you have to keep your hands behind your back. We want to interact with you. So we have the challenge tree, and so it is kind of a sample of a spring around the forest. And there's a white oak tree. That's one of our most popular tree in Tennessee. I think
Yeah.
it's white oak. And so ringed around that diorama is 40 different species. We have 10 plants, 10 birds, 10 mammals, and 10 amphibians and reptiles.
Okay.
And we have a sheet that has listed all those species. So you have to find the bunny rabbit, go to the sign and read, oh, that's eastern cottontail, find it on the mammals list and check off eastern cottontail. And so if they get a few checked off, if they get a good effort at it, we have prizes for them too
neat.
as well. So, I mean, some people come here, adults too, and
Of
they
course.
will not leave that tree until they have found every
I'm
40
finding them, darn it.
species
Yeah.
on there. And it's not as easy as you think. They're kind of hidden, some. You know, some of them pretty easy to see, but some of them you got to kind of look for that little Cope's gray tree frog, you know, or that little skink, you know, down there.
So bring
Yeah.
the kids because they're at a lower level. They might
Exactly. So some kids want to do it all on their own. Some families just want to do it as a family group, you know, kind of thing. So yeah, but that would be an example. But
Yeah.
like Night Sounds Theater, that like I said goes through a night in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And that there's a mother and she's explaining to her son all the sounds she hears. Hear that, honey? That's a beaver tail slapping on the water. You know,
Yeah.
whatever. And whatever she's talking about kind of lights up in there. So you see a beaver and you see, you know, all that stuff. And so that's a lot of fun. And connected to that is a game called What Am I? And so that is a touch screen, kind of a big touch screen panel. And it has a neat sound that'll come up, a wildlife sound.
Okay.
And you have to guess what species it is and, and
okay.
punch your finger on the fox or the owl or the snake or the whatever you think might be making that sound. And so that's a fun game. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of interesting things that you can do.
Yeah.
You can take a flight over the refuge, a flight in our plane here.
Yeah.
You can fly over the refuge. You can hear about our waterfowl counts that we do in the wintertime, but you can kind of take an aerial tour of the refuge and get to go to all 3 of our units in about 7 minutes. So yeah, so there's a lot of fun things that you can do.
We're chocked full, right?
This
Chock
visitor
full.
center is so well thought out. You know, I've been able to walk through quite a few areas like this in the country, you know, and this is top
That is a
notch.
common comment we
Very,
have.
very
I've been to
top-notch.
a lot of National Wildlife Refuges, other visitor centers, and this one's really cool.
Yeah.
So we want to invite everyone
Yes.
out there to come visit us here at Tennessee National Wildlife Refuge.
Yes. Come on out. Come check it out. I'm going to come back and explore more.
Bring the family.
Bring the family.
Bring the family.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Joan.
Okay, great.
This has been
Glad
fun.
to be here.
We'll have to come back again sometime.
Yeah.
Don, thanks for setting this up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you bet.
yeah.
You bet.
Anytime.
And, well, I believe that's it. This is Tennessee Wildcast. Keep following us. Keep tuning us in. And get outside and enjoy Tennessee's wildlife. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee Wildcast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.